In this tutorial, we'll be going over NovaBACKUP 198 CMon. At this moment, the issue is that after installing the CMon server on pretty much any modern OS, so 2016, 2019, 2022, as far as server operating systems, you might be left with an error screen when you start the CMon application. So I'll just show you that. This is a fresh install. It could also happen on an upgrade install, but that would be more rare to see that. So we'll go ahead and start the CMon, which is basically going to call the shortcut. That's the website. And this is what you'll see if you do get this error that we're talking about for basically it's an issue with IIS in regards to permissions. So in this case, we get an internal server error 500.19, and in that regards, you get a basically like an unable to access at the parent level. Something's locked. So in this case, it doesn't exactly tell you what to do, although it gives you a pretty good clue there. So this is basically to do with two components that were added in 19.7 and then one additional in 19.8 CMon server in this web config file. Basically, one is a handler and one is a module. And handlers and modules in modern IIS versions, which would be 2016, 2019, 2022, are locked as far as configuration by default. In that case, because the sections are locked for modules and handlers by default, then this web config attempts to load on the service start for management server, which is CMon's service, and then you'll get this error inside the browser. So in this case, it's trying to get to the root of the local host and get to the management server website. In that case, to fix this, you can do one of two methods of resolve. I'm just going to show you real quick what that will look like as far as if your IIS configuration is locked for those modules and handler sections. So pull up your either start menu or shortcut if you have one for IIS Manager. I'll just search for it here in my start menu. That's the icon you want to click on. And then you want to go to the root level for your server and then feature delegation. If you don't see feature delegation, you may need to set this grouping to a different level or do like a show all here. You can also use the filter, so I can do feature and then start typing that. But yeah, that's the result, and you want to double click that, feature delegation. And in this regards, it should take you to the delegation view. If it doesn't, then go ahead and click the pull down here. And then you'll see groupings by read-only and read-write access, and that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the IIS configuration is locked or unlocked. So if it's locked, it'll say read-only. And in this regards, we have handler mappings and modules set to read-only, and that should be the default for all modern IIS. In this case, it's IIS 10, which will be included, I believe, with 2019 and 2022. I think 2016 comes with 8.5, but it may have the same exact look or issue in regards to this locked configuration. So in this case, you could just go ahead and right-click and do a read-write here on handler, and the same on modules, and that will move them down to this below section to be unlocked. That's one way to do it, and we'll just show you that here. So if I right-click read-write, right-click read-write, we got both handler mappings and modules set to read-write, and I'll go ahead and minimize IIS Manager, and then we can do a refresh here. And notice that it's taking a lot longer to load the website this time. And that means that basically CMon just figured out that now it has permission to those two areas, the modules and the handlers, and it's able to proceed further past this initial error, which happens almost instantly. So now we're taken to the login screen, and that means CMon is working. We'll just go ahead and log in here with the default credentials just to verify that it can get to the dashboard. All right, so we did get to the dashboard there. And so we'll go ahead and simulate what would happen if I then take the same two feature delegation modules here and do a read only on them again. So read only, that's basically back to the defaults. There is a way also that you could, if you mess something up, you can reset all delegations over here. There's also a way to right click inside the blank space and do the same, reset all. But I'll go ahead and minimize and then we'll go reload, and it should be pretty much instant that it fails. Yeah, so you can see that. So even if I go back to the root level, same instant failure. And it also mentioned, something's locked at the parent level. So at this point, we know, how to get the CMon to load with the feature delegation over an IIS manager as far as those settings. So if we look at it now, we have modules set to read only and handler mappers read only. So we could go and right click and do a read write on both of those to fix the issue. But we can also do it via command line. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll run a administrative command prompt. Just right click and do run as admin. And then once you're there, we're going to pull open, let's see, my guide that I was writing before on this. So this will be in written form in the knowledge base article, so you don't need to, refer to the video to do these commands. So what you're going to do is the first set of commands. So this is basically the parent root machine level configuration unlock for permissions to IIS for both modules and handler items. And then so you're just going to do them in order, and you can do both of those commands in one shot. And we'll go ahead and paste those in. So unlock section, it just told me for the modules, and now it's going to be working on the handlers next. So just go ahead and hit enter on that second command that got pasted in. And then it's going to unlock those handlers. And that setting, you should just be able to refresh or reload your CMon shortcut. So we can either do it by refreshing that website that's already loaded, or we can go back to the start menu and go to our NovaBACKUP CMon shortcut, which will basically do the same thing in a new browser. And wait for it to redirect. Now, the first time you unlock the configuration and CMon attempts to refresh or reload like this, it will take, maybe 30 seconds or so, up to a minute to actually get to the web page. And you should see the sign-in page at that point. So you just have to patiently wait for this. And there we go. It's getting to the login screen. I can see from the title bar. There it goes. So now we have that. And then if we were to refresh the error that we were seeing earlier for the 500.19 internal server error, where it was saying that section is locked at the parent level for the web config file. Now we can refresh that one. It should be instant to the login screen since CMon's already loaded. There we go. And we're already logged in because we had authenticated earlier. But yeah, that takes care of that. And just to show you, that's all it took was to unlock that section at the parent root level. If we were to lock that section again with the lock command, which we'll do next, and now it says locked on that, and then we'll go back up 1 or 2 back to modules, and then we'll do a lock config. So now that those root level sections of the IIS configuration are locked, we should see the failure instantly with refreshing CMon, which, yeah, we're seeing that now. So it does take unlocking at the root level for IIS configuration for CMon to actually be able to load it this time. Yeah, go ahead and reference the commands that are in this knowledge base article for how you can do that yourself. Thank you so much for paying attention.